It's a good thing to say. But another good thing to say is what? When the problem comes. What's another good thing to say when the problem comes?
You pray, Lord, you already prepared me how to deal with this.
Lord, you done already prepared me how to deal with it.
Count it all joy.
I count it all joy. Because I know that no problems that occur is going to be to the point I can't deal with it. Now, when a problem occurs, what's the first thing we need to do when that problem occurs? I'm not saying what's the first thing we need to say about it, but what's the first thing that we need to do when that problem occurs?
Pray about it.
What's the first thing we need to do?
Recognize it and deal with it.
We ain't done. You jumping to the end.
I'm sorry.
The first thing we need to do is we need to recognize it's a problem.
Recognize it's a problem.
That's the first thing. Because some things that's occurring may not be a problem. You might make it into a problem, but it may not be a problem. So you need to recognize when it's a problem or when it's you.
And then you need to go to God and say, well, God, you know, this problem done occurred here in my life, so I know you done prepared me how to handle it, how to deal with it, and what's going to happen. So just say, well, I'm just going to leave this here in your hand and leave it alone. And go on and do whatever you was doing. You know, if it's right, go ahead on and do that, you deal with that.
Okay. Go to 2 Corinthians 4 and 8. Because we have to recognize that it's a problem. We have to recognize that not only do we need to recognize that it is a problem, my ink thing is messing up. Not only do we need to recognize that it's a problem, but we need to recognize how to deal with the problem. When you learn how to recognize how to deal with the problem, what you're doing is you're creating a solution to the problem. See, the only focus that you should have on that problem, 2 Corinthians 4 and 8. The only focus that you should have on that problem is it's in the initial phase, and that's when you recognize that it's a problem. So in other words, if someone come up and they lie, you need to first recognize that it's a lie. You need to, once you recognize that it's a lie, you don't need to be focused on why they lying. You don't need to be focused on what's their intent because they're lying. They're lying because they are at that moment influenced by the enemy. Because behind every physical destruction is a spiritual thing. Right? We don't, it tells us that we do not war against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. So our battle that we deal with is spiritual battle. Now, what's the only battle, as we get ready to recognize and how to deal with the problem, what is the only fight that we have to fight?
A good fight to fight.
Good. Good. Now, let me put this on here. The only fight we have to fight is the good fight of faith.
Mhm.
Now, how do you tie that in with going from a problem to a solution? How do you tie that in? I mean, here's this problem that done been dumped at my doorstep. So I know I gotta recognize it's a problem.
Mhm.
When it's dumped at my doorstep, usually when a problem is dumped at your doorstep, and that's just using it like, you know, in that sense, you usually start to feel uneasy. So that's a good warning sign, ding, 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 that it's a problem,
Mhm.
right? Because especially those of us that are very spiritual, that are very connected with God, usually our spirit is not at ease
Mhm.
when situations start to occur, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so how do you transition, because that's what we're learning, how to transition from problem to solution. So how do you transition from a problem that's been dumped at your doorstep, no matter how small or how large, it's still a problem. So how do you go from that to the solution using the good fight of faith? Because he tells us that the battle is not ours, but the Lord. But then he tells us to fight the good fight of faith. So if the battle is not ours, but the Lord, why is he telling us to fight the good fight of faith?
Stand on.
Go ahead.
Stand on what we believe in.
Okay.
Because God is going to test our faith to see where we at in our faith. If we don't have no faith, we can't fight a good fight of faith because we don't know whether we got the faith or not. How we going to fight the good fight of faith if we ain't got no faith there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we recognize that we got a problem, but we don't know how to deal with the problem. Because see, whenever you got a problem, what you need to do instead of going to man or going to each other, we need to go to God with it.
Yes. Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
seek the Holy Spirit on whatever the Holy Spirit say do, then we do that, go that way.
Mhm.
If we listen to what man say, man gonna steer us wrong every time.
Mhm. But God won't.
No, God won't steer us wrong, and the Holy Spirit ain't gonna steer us wrong.
Right.
And that's what he said, stand on our faith. Live by our faith and believe in our faith. So when something occurs, what we do, we go to God and we say, well, you know, God, this is your battle, it's not mine.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to bring it to where even those that are going to be watching the video can understand. Okay?